Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. As you would have seen by the title, this is going to be everything we know that is coming to the global side of Dokkan. And as you can tell by the amount of tabs up the top, it's going to be quite a long video, so you might want to get strapped in with some snacks, a drink, something like that. But don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. So first off, we already know the Gammas are coming on both global and JP very soon. On the global side, the Gammas are coming near the end of October, and one of the two celebrations that is guaranteed to happen no matter what is of course Dragon Ball Heroes, and in December Tanabata. So starting with Heroes, just because there's not a lot to go on right now. Currently, of course, we don't know what the new featured units are going to be, but of course, every single year during November, we get the Dragon Ball Heroes crossover celebration. We have a full Dragon Ball Heroes featured banner, and now, since last year, prior units are starting to pick up EZAs. Now, if the trend continues the way it started, all of these units last year ended up picking up their EZAs, and a lot of them of course were very good. So since Dokkan EZA'd the units from the initial 2017 banner following the same trend, that means this year when we get the Dragon Ball Heroes celebration in November, the units from the 2018 banner should end up getting EZAs, which includes the SSJ3 Goku, who of course already has Guard, the SSJ3 Xeno Vegeta, the Supreme Kai of Time, who's one of the best supports in the game. As long as she gets some stats to herself, she's going to be very good. We have my boy Vegeta, or Black Marseille, who's pretty good as well. We also have Super Mirror. Then we have Demigra, or Demigra Makioka form. I think that's how you say it. It sounds like a coffee, you know what I mean? From Starbucks. And then finally we have Dark Mask King, who's another one who has Guard, who just with some increased numbers should be looking pretty good this year. And then we have Tanabata as the second of the two confirmed celebrations, which of course will be coming in December. The remainder of the celebrations could come either just before Heroes in November, could easily become just before the Trunks and Vegeta during December, and then going into the new year. So hopefully from this video, this will help you not only inform global players that you now know what's coming and what to expect and how good these units are and what banners are coming with them, but also some of the content that's coming with them also. So that way you know who to save your stones for, who you want to summon for, how you want to distribute them, and prepare your accounts and units for maybe link levelings, collecting medals, and some of the EZAs that are coming with them as well. However, I'm not going to go through everything that is coming in all the celebrations just because I don't want the video to be too long. I'll end up doing it in a future video when they come on global anyway, and I'm only going to be going through the major EZAs as well, just so we're not stretching this video to almost like an hour long. So here we have the LR Vegeta and Trunks banner, a unit that has been talked about on JP for months, and a unit that for months on global I have constantly said and reminded people is the best unit and will be the best unit eventually when they drop on global. Unfortunately, however, their banner isn't anywhere near as good. So they'll be coming in December. Of course, on the banner you have them, a side banner Goku Black, who's actually pretty solid, he's pretty good. Then we have the Tech Gogeta, who has aged quite a bit but still has uses, especially in Red Zone with that Scouter ability, only for 5 turns of course, but any dupes is definitely going to help them. I would love to get some dupes in them. We have Blue Boys, who, yeah, don't really have too much use nowadays. We have Gohan and Trunks. Gohan and Trunks, definitely not Gohan and Trunks. Gohan and Goten, or Goten and Gohan, who really do need an EZA at this point. They have aged so much. We have the Goten and Trunks as well. They're still pretty solid, but again, I don't think they really match up to Red Zone, or maybe they do. I haven't really seen much of them. I still don't have them myself, but still not what everyone wants. Then we have the Tech Kale and Caulifla, who aren't too bad for Red Zone because of course they do stack. However, dupes are very much needed for them in harder content. Then we have Strength Kefla, who, yeah, I honestly hate this unit. Like, I really do hate her so much. And then SSBK, who is literally the epitome of a glass cannon. And yeah, there's no way you're taking him into harder content nowadays, unless you're gonna like nuke in Super Battle Road. And then we have transforming Goku Black, who is absolute cheeks and needs an EZA to save him. So as you can see, the banner is pretty much dog. Like, the banner is terrible. However, Like me, and I know a lot of you will probably be doing the same thing, you're probably going to summon on this banner regardless, kind of disregard the rest, and go for these two, because they are the best unit in the game and will be on Global in December, hands down. So in terms of what they do, they kind of have everything going for them. In terms of leader skill, they're a bond of parent and child. Global will finally have a full 170 lead and 200% lead for bond of parent and child units eventually when they drop. Or they're a future saga lead, giving key +3, HP and attack and defense plus 170, and then they give the additional HP and attack and defense plus 30% to Battle of Fate category allies or category units, which their 200% lead is pretty solid, but the main part of their category, which makes them so good, is the 170 portion of their bond of parent and child lead, which of course will be a new lead in the game when they do drop. Well, on Global, it's actually not really new anymore. We do have sub leads, but of course you're never going to use them just because they're like 30 and 50%. But we'll now have a full lead. And even if units don't go on their 200% lead, this is the portion of their category lead that make their category one of the best in the entirety of Dokkan. Not only do you have them themselves, of course, you have some of the best units in the game. LRUI. Gohan still has its uses for longer events. Easy A should be pending soon. Easy A LRSSJ for Goku. We also have the likes of Easy A LR Goten and Trunks. LR Birdku, who is currently top 3 unit in the game on JP, top 2 on Global. You have one of the better yellow/gold coin LRs in the game when it comes to Super Saiyan Gohan and Goku. Then you have the LR Year 7 Gods, LR Gogeta, who's aged quite a bit, but again still has uses. LR Nameku. There's also the LR Year 3 ZA of Vegeta and Gogeta as well. LR Kaioken Goku, LR Vegito, Strength UI, LRSSJ4 as well, the EZA, LRSSJ4s from Year 7. The list just goes on. And that's just LRs. As I said, the list just goes and goes and goes. Some of the best units in the game go on this one category. The new Pan as well. Not to mention there's also Tech Ultimate Gohan, Godku, EZA Full Power SSJ4 Goku. There's also the likes of the EZA SSJs, not EZA SSJs, the GT SSJs. There's also the likes of Kid Goku, who recently picked up an EZA on JP. That's yet to come for Global. His EZA is very good as well. EZA UI. There's also the GT Trio on top of that. There are a plethora of some of the best units in the entire game that go on this one category. Transforming SSJ2 to SSJ3 Goku. As I said, the list just goes on and on and on. It keeps the Year 7s even more relevant, even though they're still 2 of the best units in the game on both Global and JP, but they keep more relevance because of the category. Not to mention, where's my boy? Not to mention, my boy Majin Vegeta, who was pretty good upon release. Once the Bond of Parent and Child 170 lead comes out, but the fact that, of course, the LR is a Vegeta and Trunks unit means he will always have his extra damage reduction, no matter what. Because, of course, the unit is a Vegeta and Trunks unit, and you don't need to be squeezing any Kid Trunks units that aren't good enough to go in harder content on the game, or in the game, on the category. So he gets a major buff from this category as well, and easily jumps up as one of the better units in the game, guaranteed. And you know, me being a Vegeta fanboy, that does make me very, very happy. But moving on for the rest of their kit, on 12 key they do raise attack and defense by 30% for one turn, causes colossal damage to the enemy. And on 18 key they stack their attack and defense by 20%, of course, as well. Of course, 20% isn't, you know, the usual standard, usually it's 30, but considering they're an LR and they have LR stats, not to worry. The main thing is they stack. They stack. And they cause mega colossal damage to the enemy. On their passive, they do have an entrance animation, which will happen regardless. They'll get key +2, defense +70%, and guards all attacks from 5 turns, or for 5 turns, from the start of turn when there is another Bond of Parent and Child category ally attacking in the same turn, which of course is pretty much guaranteed because that is the category they do indeed run. So you're never really going to have to worry about getting that active, but you will only have it active for 5 turns. But not to worry, because they do have built-in guard anyway. So if you were to use them on a different category and only have like a handful of Bond of Parent and Child units on there, they would also get the extra 70% defense and guard also, which is going to help them out. But pretty much the entrance animation is really helping them getting the extra key and 70% defense rather than the guard. so that they already have guard on top of that in the first place. At the start of turn, they are getting key +2 in attack and defense plus 140%. They also launch an additional attack. There's a medium chance of becoming a super attack, which of course helps them do some extra damage, raise their attack and defense by 30% for 1 turn on top of the fact they've stacked as well, which is very handy. They also have an additional key +1 up to 5 and defense plus 15% up to 75%, and a chance upon a critical hit plus 7% up to 35% with each attack received, and then they get an additional attack and defense plus 70% and guards all attacks when they are their first attacker in a turn, which of course, because they have guaranteed guard in slot 1 and also have guard for 5 turns when there is a bond of parent and child category ally attacking in the same turn, which of course if you're running dual Vegeta and Trunkses, you're going to be surrounded by them. They're going to be guarding in slot 1 at all times. They're going to have the extra defense. They're going to have the extra key, which is going to help them get their 18 key off more often than not as well. So they're constantly stacking every time they super attack, because then you're always more likely going to get their 18 key off. And then they're also going to get the extra defense, which means they're going to tank even better on top of the fact they're going to be doing even more damage and have even more defense on top of that, because they're going to be stacking throughout the entire event as well. So they're going to be tanking red zone for some of the best damage you've ever seen a unit tank in red zone. Not to mention, this is a unit at 55% that once they've built up their extra 35% crit chance, which is 5 attacks received, which is very easy because again they have guard as the first attacker in the turn, so they're going to be tanking all the attacks in slot 1. We know how red zone is with the amount of attacks that are in slot 1 anyway. They're also going to have a 35% chance to crit at 55% in the dupe system, which means the amount of damage they can do while stacking while being that good defensively is also up there. So now you're kind of seeing global players why they are considered the best unit in the game over on JP, but we're not done. They also have an active skill which will massively raise attack temporarily. Again, you're going to be stacking the entire time, which means until you decide to use this, this is only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Not to mention you'll cause ultimate damage to the enemy and all attacks become crits for 1 turn as well, which means their active skill, when you decide to use it, will be a guaranteed crit and you will be doing massive amounts of damage, and the remainder of attacks in turn as well will also be crits on top of that. See, the amount of damage you can end up doing in 1 turn against a red zone enemy and enemies in general are pretty nuts. And just to top it off, they also raise allies defense by 20% for 1 turn on top of that, which is, it's nice having some extra padding in red zone as well for other units to tank a little bit better. The conditions for this can be activated starting from the 3rd turn when all allies attacking in the same turn are Future Saga, which during red zone you may not see this all that often just because you're more likely going to focus on the bond of parent and child portion of the category, and a lot of them don't really belong, or some of the better units on that category don't really belong on Future Saga as well. But if you're doing a Future Saga based category mission, event, etc., very easy and very good active skill conditions, or when HP is 50% or less starting from the 5th turn. So 2 turns later, the 5th turn is a little bit late-ish, it's not too bad, but considering it's an or condition, I don't really mind it too much. In terms of getting your HP at 50% or less in red zone, relatively easy, unless of course it's pretty much these 2 tanking the majority of super attacks, but it's definitely doable in red zone. And then their link set as well, it's so easy to link them. Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Royal Lineage, Dismal Future, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. The majority of some of the better units in the game, because they are naturally Saiyan units, all have links like Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. So not only are they have one of the best leader skills in the game, one of the best units in the game, one of the best slot 1 defensive units in the game, but they also are one of the easiest linking LR units you're going to have in the game on top of that. They go on Future Saga, Time Travelers, Join Forces, Vegeta's Family, Bond of Master and Disciple, Battle of Fate, and Bond of Parent and Child also. So moving on from one of the best Dokkan fests in the game, we're going to move on to one of the better yellow/gold coin LRs in the game, and that is of course Merge Masu, which will come during the Tanabata celebration with the Vegeta and Trunks. This isn't a part 2, it's just one whole celebration. And what a unit, by the way. So this was the legendary summon banner over on JP. Of course, this is a natural yellow/gold coin LR banner, which we now see 3 featured LRs, which of course, one of them is the Merge Masu. in Goku Black Rose, or in Rose nowadays, he's aged quite a bit. Damage output still pretty good, but defensively not quite there. And then we have LR Tapium and Minosha, who aren't too bad. They're okay. They're nothing special. They are pretty solid where you can use them on said categories where they are needed, for like maybe Super Battle Road stages. And then in terms of the remainder of the featured units, of course, this is where things drop off. You have the Strength Trunks, who, to be fair, not a bad unit. You know, he's not too bad of a unit. And then the rest of them, kind of neither here nor there. But in terms of what the Merge Zamasu does, he's a worldwide Chaos or Batara lead, giving Ki +4 and HP and attack and defense +150. On 12 Ki, he will greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for one turn, cause colossal damage to the enemy and lowers attack. On 18 Ki, greatly raises attack and defense by 50% again for the turn, but causes mega colossal damage to the enemy and greatly lowers attack. And then we have the absolute book worth of a passive skill. Also has an entrance animation, which by the way looks amazing, where he'll get Ki +1 per Ki sphere obtained for 5 turns, which of course is very helpful considering, again, this is an LR unit. You want to be getting the 18 Ki off as much as possible. Where there is another Patara category ally attacking in the same turn, which, considering the EZAs that come out during the celebration, that's going to be very easy to get active. Also randomly changes Ki spheres of a certain type to int Ki spheres, which again, as an LR who wants all the Ki possible to launch an 18 Ki, very, very nice. Also, attack and defense +100% and reduces damage received by 20%. Not the most damage reduction, but it definitely is nice to have it. Also gets an additional attack and defense +50% on super, which is multiplicative, which means the offense and defense will jump up quite a bit. It will also launch an additional super attack when performing an ultra super attack. That's guaranteed, by the way. So all the orb changing for 5 turns, the extra Ki, you hit an 18 Ki where you greatly raise your attack and defense, and then you hit a guaranteed additional. You'll then greatly raise your attack and defense again, so that is 100% attack and defense in one turn, which definitely helps him tank quite a bit after super attack, especially with the attack and defense you're also going to get when performing a super attack. So offensively and defensively, Merge Zamasu is looking pretty solid. Again, also with the 20% damage reduction as well. It all adds up. Attacks are effective against all types when Ki is 24, which means he can start dishing out some real serious numbers even when he doesn't have type advantage or when he's type neutral. He also then gets an additional damage reduction of 2% within the same turn with each attack received up to 10%. Again, it's not a lot, but again, on top of all the defense you'll have after his super attacks, especially with the additional if you do get an 18 Ki off, on top of the 20% damage reduction you already have, ends up adding up to 30% damage reduction. And again, after all the super attack buffs end up happening, he's going to be tanking really, really well. He then also gets Ki +1 each time the character receives an attack 5 or more times during battle, up to +5, which again is going to help you get your 18 Ki off a lot more consistently. He recovers 10% HP at the end of turn, in which the character receives an attack 5 or more times during battle, and then has a 70% chance of evading enemies' unarmed super attack and countering with tremendous power. So not only is he a great defensive unit, but he also has a 70% chance of evading an enemy's unarmed super attack as well. So great defensively and has a 70% chance to dodge as well on top of that. Merge Zamasu also has an active skill which will massively raise attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage and stuns the enemy for one turn. So in events and stages where you can stun, the guaranteed stun is very useful. The conditions can be activated after performing 5 or more super attacks during battle, which is naturally going to happen relatively easy as well, especially if you are getting the 18 Ki off consistently and constantly getting that built-in additional. It's going to come even quicker considering it doesn't have any turn restrictions. His link set is Big Bad Bosses, Dismal Future, Godly Power, Fuse Fighter, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. Some very good links, especially again when you consider Rose and Zamasu are picking up EZAs during the celebration as well. Merge Zamasu goes on Realm of Gods, Patara, Future Saga, Time Travelers, Final Trump Card, Worldwide Chaos, Battle of Fate, and Fused Fighters. So that's it for the summonable units from this celebration. Now let's go through the main EZAs that are coming. The EZAs of this celebration are so good. So we're starting off with Tech VB, who now will give all super type allies Ki +4, HP and attack and defense +140 when the team includes all 5 super types. On super attack, of course, he stacks attack and defense, he disables enemies guard and causes immense damage to enemy. On his passive, he gets defense +150 at the start of turn, and and then gets an additional defense plus 50% when attacking, which combined with the fact he's going to stack does make him quite defensively solid. He also launches 2 additional attacks, each of which have a 30% chance of becoming a super attack, which of course helps him stack. Not to mention he's quite an old unit, so if you've been playing Dokkan for quite a bit, you may have dupes in him, which means you could then super attack potentially a 4th time in one turn, and if ideally this happens, you could potentially see him super attack 4 times in one turn, do some pretty good damage, but more importantly, stack his attack and defense 4 times in one turn, which of course is amazing. He also gets attack plus 20% of each attack performed up to 200%, so he does get attack in his passive, but you do need to build up his passive first to get it. So after a few turns, once this is built up, his attack will be very, very good on top of the fact you will be stacking, and this is very easy to get. You need to perform 10 attacks, but considering he has 2 additionals built in, you're guaranteed to super attack, and then also you may have dupes, which could also add a 4th attack in there, and it's not super attacks, it's just normal attacks. You could pretty much have him built up by turn 3 ideally. So that's not going to take you too long at all. And then he'll get key plus 3 and a medium chance of performing a critical hit within the same turn after receiving an attack as well. So once again, just like Fizz VB a couple years ago, he's up there as one of the better EZAs in the game as well. Again, this time the tech one. But in terms of link skills, of course, they remain the same of Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Warrior Gods, Power Bestow by God, Fuse Fighter, Over in a Flash, Fierce Battle, and of course remains on the same categories. I don't know why I kind of checked that off, but still, we keep rolling. And then we have Rose, who of course will be picking up an EZA as well, and works very well with, of course, the LR Merge Zamasu and the other EZA for the Rose and Zamasu that has come in. So of course, he is the extreme type version of VB. On super attack, he does greatly raise defense one turn, causes immense damage to the enemy, and extreme class allies get attack plus 30% for one turn, which is very nice. Do remember though, if he is floating, the support on super, only he will take advantage of. If he's on main rotation, and you put him in slot 2, which is probably the best place for him if he is going to be on rotation, only him and the slot 3 unit will be able to utilize the support on super. Unless he goes in slot 1, then the rotation won't all get the advantage of the support, so do remember that. He does get attack and defense plus 150 at the start of turn. Extreme class allies get key plus 3 and defense plus 50%. Realm of Gods extreme class allies also get attack plus 50%, and super class enemies have attack and defense minus 30%. Of course, right now we don't have a red zone level kind of super class event, so you can only really utilize this in SBR, and it's only really going to do so much, like you probably won't even notice it, but it's nice to have. He then also gets an additional attack and defense plus 50% and attacks effective against all types for the rest of battle after delivering a final blow, which I'm not usually a fan of the final blow stuff, but one final blow and he has attacks effective against all types, which is great again when he's like type neutral or type disadvantage, and the extra attack and defense plus 50% is very nice. But he's very, very good, mainly because all the support he's going to be offering. Also, it doesn't say self-excluded, which means he'll get all the support as well, not to mention with the units you're going to be running him with, again with the new LR Merge Zamasu and the EZA Rose and Zamasu that is coming, they're going to benefit from all of this as well. The next EZA we have is one I've already mentioned, which is the Rose and Zamasu, which before I found out was coming on JP was one of my most anticipated EZAs for Dokkan in general, and now of course is my most anticipated EZA coming to global. So after EZAing, Rose and Zamasu give tech types key plus 4, HP and attack and defense plus 120. On 12 key, they'll raise attack for 1 turn, cause colossal damage to the enemy, and raise defense by 30% for 3 turns. So a mini stack of defense up to 90% on that final and 3rd turn. On 18 key, they'll raise attack for 1 turn again, cause mega colossal damage to the enemy, and raise the defense by 30% for 6 turns, which means you can get their defense on the 6th and final turn all the way up to 180%. And don't forget, during the turns prior to the 6th turn, if you are getting any additionals off, this defense will also stack up as well if you're consistently getting those additionals, which means defensively, they can get to some pretty decent spots. And then on their passive, they recover 15% HP at the start of turn and key plus 2 and defense plus 50%. They then get another key plus 2 and defense plus 50% and guards all attacks from 3 turns from the start of turn. Only 3 turns, but still, guard is still guard at the end of the day. Especially within those 3 turns, you could be building up their defense, which means they will tank really, really well. They also get attack plus 100% on super, which, considering they don't get anything at the start of turn, again, this is still multiplicative, so they're attacks that will jump up quite a bit, especially combined with the fact you're going to be raising your attack by 30% on 18 and 12 key supers as well. They also get an additional key plus 1 up to 4, and attack and defense plus 30% with each attack received up to 120%. So quite a well-balanced EZA, if I do say so myself. It's looking good, man. As I said, when you consider the merge Zamasu and him being one of the better yellow/gold coin LRs in the game, you have EZA Strength Rose with all the support, you have their EZA as well, how well they will link together. Honestly, Rose fans, I know I'm a Vegeta fanboy, but DBS and kind of like a villain side of things, Rose is up there for me. We're eating good from this celebration, let me just tell you that. And then the final EZA from this celebration is Trunks and Mired, LR that I never really was too much of a fan of and only ever really used them when they were necessary. So after EZAing, Time Travelers category gets key plus 4 HP and attack and defense plus 150, Super Strength type get key plus 4 HP and attack and defense plus 100%. On 12 key, they greatly raise defense to 1 turn, they cause colossal damage with a medium chance of stunning, and on 18 key, they greatly raise defense by 50% again, and cause mega colossal damage with a high chance of stunning. So of course, again, where you have events and stages where you can stun, very, very useful. The greatly raised defense is also very nice as well. They do get attack and defense plus 70% at the start of turn, and they get an additional key plus 1 and attack plus 20% up to 140 Time Travelers category ally on the team. So if you are running a full Time Travelers category team, their start of turn attack and defense can be very, very good. You're talking 210%, again, on top of the fact they can hit an 18 key that will greatly raise their defense by 50%. And if you hit an additional as well, they can greatly raise their defense on 12 key on top of that, or just have 2 12 keys. So defensively, in the likes of Super Battle Road, they're going to be very, very useful. Again, especially if you are doing a specific Time Travelers category mission or category stage. Also, Superclass allies get attack and defense plus 30%, the support is nice. They get key plus 6 and a high chance of evading enemies' attack, including super attack when there is a Future Saga category enemy. This is very specific, but when you are facing one, they're going to be popping off. Not only are they going to have decent offensive numbers, good defensively again, especially after they supered and a potential additional. They have key plus 6, which of course is going to help them get their 18 key off a little bit more consistently. You can also stun. Again, if you're doing a Time Traveler specific kind of ESBR stage and you're facing a Future Saga enemy, they are going to be very, very good there. Then the next celebration we have is the introduction of the Resurrection of F Blue Boys, which, based on the schedule now and the timing of everything, and Global getting the Gammas near the end of October, and then we go into November, and we kind of need a short celebration. The Blue Boys could be squeezed into there, but this celebration has a part 2, so we're probably more than likely going to see this celebration going into the new year of like January, February time. But I do believe these two are very underrated when they initially dropped on JP. Are they top 3, top 5 unit in the game? No, but they are very, very good nonetheless. This is their banner. They bring a side banner Jacko, and if you had told me years ago there was a good Jacko unit in the game, I know we had the SR who's very useful for World Tournament, but outside of that, I would have told you you're lying. I would have told you you are chatting shit. But this Jacko is actually pretty good. We have androids, who of course are still one of the best TURs in the game. Super Vegeta, while not one of the best anymore, is still up there. He's still pretty good. Not to mention that is my boy. I do want to rainbow him someday. Then we have transforming Golden Frieza, who only has his useful, like he's only useful kind of limited, like in limited areas now, but still has his usefulness here and there. We have Beerus and Jiren, who really do need an EZA. I really want to see Jiren get EZA'd. Like, when is that happening, Dokkan? When is that happening? So their banner isn't really the best, but there's some useful pickups on there. And in terms of what they do, they're a Realm of Gods or Mastered Evolution category, given key plus 3, HP and attack and defense plus 170, and they give the additional HP and attack and defense plus 30% to Pure Saiyans. So in terms of the Realm of Gods, 200% lead with Pure Saiyans, you're looking at all UIs, all God Gokus, God Vegetas, Blue Gokus, Blue Vegetas, and also the likes of SSBEs, but we don't really talk about him too much. But then there's the EZA SSBE, of course, is very, very good, one of the best EZAs in the game. So a pretty good 200% lead nonetheless. And of course, with the EZAs of 3 Blue Vegetas that are coming from Resurrection of F, which is the Strength one, Fizz one, and also the AGL one, they're pretty good as well and work pretty good with the Goku Exchange Vegeta unit, which of course, as I said before, I'll go in closer to the time when they do end up dropping on global. Otherwise this video will be far too long, and it's probably quite long as it is already. So yeah, this is a exchange Goku and Vegeta unit, so their categories will of course contain Goku's family, because this is a base Goku unit rather than Goku and Vegeta. So that's why Vegeta's family isn't on there and Goku's family is. On Super Attack, they do stack attack. They cause immense damage to the enemy. They also have an entrance animation which looks pretty good. Well, they get Ki +3 and launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a Super Attack for 3 turns from the start of turn, which of course is going to help them. Considering they're not at LR, you don't have to worry about an 18 Ki. But that's going to help them stack up their attack quite a bit, or a lot quicker, which I'm a big fan of for those 3 turns. They get attack and defense plus 150 and an additional attack and defense plus 50% performing a super attack, which is multiplicative, which means defensively they're going to be quite solid. And the fact you're going to be stacking the attack the entire time, especially if you're getting additionals off within those first 3 turns where you do have a high chance of launching an additional super, then their attack stat can get to pretty decent lengths while you're still currently as Goku. And then you'll get an additional attack and defense plus 25% with each attack performed up to 100%. So prior to exchanging, you could then get an extra 100% on the 150 they have, which is the 250. You then have the attack and defense plus 50% when performing a super attack, which is multiplicative. And the fact you're going to be stacking your attack the entire time before you exchange into Vegeta, which of course then carries over once you bring him out. And of course the active skill is the exchange, which can be activated starting from the 4th turn of battle. So pretty much you have 4 turns, which is how ideally you're going to run this. 4 turns of building Goku's passive up to the 100% and 4 turns of him stacking, which works really well again for the fact you're going to have that built-in additional with the 50% chance of launching a super attack for 3 turns, and then you're going to hit the exchange. Their link set is Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan Warrior God, Super God Combat, Resurrection of F, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. And then when Vegeta pops out, when my boy is here, no longer stacks, but he'll greatly raise attack and defense on super and cause immense damage to the enemy, which is also going to work really nice offensively, because again, you would have been stacking the entire time when Goku's there, and then eventually when you decide to exchange them, of course, when you're happy with the attack stat being where it's being, or essentially in red zone, kind of exchanging them when you need the defense and you need a better well-rounded unit out, is probably more likely when you're going to be doing that. So he then becomes an orb changer. He'll randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres for 3 turns. I kind of wish this was permanent, but it's only for 3 turns, but you know, it still works really well. Still gets attack and defense plus 150, which I'm surprised they didn't up this even to like 180, maybe 200%, but it is what it is. They still keep, or he still keeps the additional attack and defense plus 50% on super, which again, considering we're also going to greatly raise your attack and defense on super now, defensively Vegeta is looking a hell of a lot more solid, of course, than Goku, and you would have been stacking the entire time as well. So Vegeta is still doing some very good numbers offensively and doing some good damage on top of being a lot more defensively solid now. He then gets Ki +1 and a chance point of critical hit plus 25% per rainbow key sphere obtained, which the fact he becomes a rainbow orb changer for 3 turns, and this is why I would have loved if the rainbow orb changing stayed, is because of this part of his passive. But considering he's a rainbow orb changer and you get a 25% crit chance, even at 55% of course, a 25% chance to crit a rainbow key sphere obtained means a lot of the time for those 3 turns while he's being a rainbow orb changer, you will have almost a guaranteed chance to crit, or a lot of the time if you can get all the rainbow key spheres, which isn't even a lot, because again it's 25% per rainbow key sphere obtained, a lot of the time you're either going to have a very high chance for him to crit every time, or you have guaranteed crit because you're getting all the rainbow key spheres you need to get it to 100%. And again, don't forget, you're going to have this on super attack, which is multiplicative. You would have been stacking with Goku the entire time on top of the 50% raise on super. It means Vegeta will be doing, in terms of actual raw damage to enemies, he's going to be doing a lot of good actual raw damage because of how much he's going to be critting enemies, which means defensively he's in a good spot, and the amount of damage he can do is really, really good. On top of that, he also gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% with only 1 or more rainbow keys for obtained, which even once he stops being a rainbow orb changer, that's very easy to get, and again that's going to help him deal even more damage, especially with all the crit chance when he's going to be critting the majority of the time. On top of the fact you may have dupes, could hit an additional, greatly raised attack and defense again, could hit another crit. The amount of damage this guy can do is up there, as I said, while all being defensively solid. and then he'll get an extra additional defense plus 50% with 3 or more key spheres obtained. Promise, wasn't trying to hurt my own PC, but we keep moving. So yeah, offensively and defensively, he's in a pretty good spot once they exchange, and the amount of damage you can do is of course very, very impressive when you do get all those rainbow key spheres on top of the stack, the 50% on super, the greatly raised attack and defense on the super attack anyway, and then also the potential of you having a dupe where you could greatly raise your attack and defense again, and also the potential for another crit. So yeah, are they again top 3, top 5 unit in the game? No, but I do think they were highly underrated when they dropped on JP, and they're still up there as one of the better units in the game, even if they're not one of the best. Then we have another one of the better yellow/gold coin LRs in the game, if not the best, which is the LR Golden Frieza. This is another unit I have talked about for months, especially with now there being an LR final form cooler, which of course he goes on that 200% lead, and also the 200% lead from LR meta cooler if you did pull for him during worldwide. This is how his banner be looking. I mean, of course, he's one of the best yellow coin LRs in the game, so immediately there's great value there. We have the Golden Frieza in 17, who are not so good, and then we have LR Goku and Frieza, who are still pretty good, but honestly, I don't really see myself using them too much anymore. But their EZA is still solid, but I kind of wish they waited to EZA them, because then they could have been so much better. So there's some value here, but the value mainly comes from him. And in terms of the featured units, I mean, if you're a newer player, this guy's actually very useful. He literally gets taken into red zone on extreme type teams where you can fit him in. Third from Frieza, still not bad, but he's aged quite a bit. But like a lot of yellow/gold coin LR banners, it's not great. In terms of what LR Golden Frieza does, he's a Resurrected Warriors or Planetary Destruction lead, giving key plus 4 HP and attack and defense plus 150. On 12 key, he will raise attack for 1 turn by 30%, causes colossal damage to the enemy and lowers attack and defense. On 18 key, he will raise attack and defense by 30%, causes mega colossal damage to the enemy. Another one has an entrance animation, and by the way, his animation, some of the shots, some of the frames from his animation on his entrance are so good. Like, honestly, I love them so much. But upon his entrance animation, he will have damage reduction minus 90%. And then his damage reduction will go down by 10% or reduce by 10% at the start of each turn up to 60%. So every time a turn passes, he will lose 10% damage reduction, and that will cap off at 60, and then he'll go down to the minimal amount of damage reduction he will have will be 30%. Now you're probably wondering, oh, that's not that great. If he only ends up going down to 30% damage reduction, that's not that good. Considering the extra defense he gets from his passive, which we'll go through in a moment, that ends up helping him still tank very, very well. Not to mention, he's an ideal Super Battle Road unit when you're pretty much only in there for 5-6 turns, especially when you're next to the likes of LR Final Form Cooler if you do have him and you're doing that much damage every turn, especially with now having EZA Transforming Cooler. You're probably only going to be in there for 4 or 5 turns, so you're not even going to notice it, and he's going to be performing at his best for the majority of the fight when you need him to be, when all enemies are still alive. And then in terms of red zone, again, it's pretty much get in and get out. You need to survive, but you also need to do a lot of damage to make sure you're not in there too long, to the point where you may end up dying and your run ends up getting ruined. And again, especially being next to LR Final Form Cooler, who does so much damage, especially if you have dupes and you're hitting crits and getting an extra additional here and there, you're not going to be in there for as long as you think. So that losing that amount of damage reduction isn't as impactful as you initially would first think. But he does get key plus 5 and attack and defense plus 100% at the start of the turn, which is very nice considering you want to constantly be getting the 18 key off of him to maximize damage and get that defense raise on super. He'll also get an additional attack and defense plus 100% and launches an additional super attack when HP is 50% or more. So he has a guaranteed additional super when you have 50% or more HP, and you'll get attack and defense plus 100%. So that is attack and defense plus 100%. On top of attack and defense plus 100% when your HP is 50% or more. So that's 200% attack and defense. On top of the fact, again, you're going to be hitting 18 keys, which will raise your attack and defense by 30%. On top of all the damage reduction you're going to have as well. So this guy's always going to be chilling in slot 1. And considering the categories he goes on and who he's surrounded by, especially when you're in red zone, you know, you're looking at LR Final Form Cooler's 200% lead, which of course is Terrifying Conqueror's transformation boost. You're looking at Movie Boss's transformation boost, Wicked Bloodline. When you think about the units that are going to be surrounding him, that's a lot of support. You're looking at the likes of Garlic Jr., EZA Transforming Cooler, who is also one of the best EZAs in the game and very good defensively for red zone. You're looking at Tech Janemba, another one who's one of the better defensive units in the game while also offering support if you do get the right amount of key spheres and type of key spheres. There's a lot of support while also being surrounded by a lot of good defensive units, while being a good damage dealer and one of the best defensive units in the game as well on that same team. So a lot of the time, even in harder content, your HP is going to be at 50% or more, on top of the fact you'll be having items and support memories with you as well. I know a lot of you don't like using items and use it to slander other units, you know, when you're making cases, or some of you do no item runs, which is fair enough, do your thing, boo. But a lot of the time, combined with the fact you're going to be using Whis and a lot of good defensive units around this guy, along with him being one of the better defensive units in the game, and on top of all the support, a lot of the time, as I said, you'll be having your HP above 50%, which means you're always getting attack and defense plus 100%, and the guaranteed additional, which means you'll raise your attack again by 30% in a turn, only on the 12 key, of course, but doing some extra damage is never a bad thing. He then gets an additional key plus 2 and defense plus 50% for the rest of the battle after performing 5 or more attacks. 5 or more super attacks during battle, which again, because a lot of the time you're going to be at 50% or more HP, you're always going to get any additional, which means getting those 5 attacks will literally take you about 3 turns. And then he's going to be defending even better because he's got even more defensive coverage while your damage reduction is coming down. He'll also get an additional key plus 2 and attack plus 50% for the rest of the battle after receiving 5 or more attacks during battle. And considering in the likes of Super Battle Road and Red Zone, how many attacks are coming in slot 1, and this is where this guy is going to be because of how much damage reduction he'll have, especially at that point. He'll have the full 90% damage reduction, so he'll be tanking incredibly well on top of all the defense he's going to be getting. He'll be tanking Red Zone for amazing amounts of damage while easily receiving 5 attacks, because you can pretty much get that done in 1 turn because of the amount of attacks in slot 1 in Red Zone, because there's always a lot, which means you'll get this key plus 2 and attack plus 50% after 1 turn at a push at the beginning of the 2nd turn, which is very, very nice at helping him do a lot of damage. His damage output is pretty good considering how much of a defensive focus unit he is and how good defensively he is. Not to mention, once you've built up all the extra key plus 2, defense plus 50% for performing super attacks 5 times and then taking 5 attacks, the extra key plus 4 is of course going to help on top of the key plus 5s you get in the start of the turn. So that's extra key plus 9, with him constantly being able to do his 18 key, which means he's constantly doing the pinnacle of his damage and always getting the attack and defense raise on his 18 key as well. That's going to help him do that. Another one that also has an active skill where he'll massively raise attack temporarily, causes mega colossal damage to all enemies, so very handy again for Super Battle Road. This can be activated when HP is 50% or less, starting from the 3rd turn from the start of battle once only. I'm not going to lie, even though Super Battle Road has had a massive power curve recently, and again, considering who's going to be on the team with him, I don't know how likely it is you're going to be getting your HP at 50% or less, unless you decide to take units to forcibly get that, or you don't have the better defensive units that he can be surrounded by if you are using him on some of his better categories that does have them units. But then we have his link skills, which are Prodigy, Strongest Clan in Space, Universe's Most Malevolent, Super God Combat, Resurrection of F, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. One of the best things about this guy is he's a Frieza unit. He goes on LR Final Form Cooler's 200% lead. He links with him so easily because he has the likes of Strongest Clan in Space, Universe's Most Malevolent, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. He is a slot 1 unit that can chill while you have LR Final Form Cooler doing absolute ridiculous amounts of damage and attacks in slot 2. It works so well. He goes on Resurrected Warriors, Movie Bosses, Full Power, Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Revenge, Inhuman Deeds, Gifted Warriors, Planetary Destruction, Mastered Evolution, Sworn Enemies, and Battle of Fate. And then while this celebration, as I previously mentioned, does bring the 3 Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta EZAs in this, of course, again, I'm only going through major EZAs, and the major EZAs come from this is the Int Angel Golden Frieza, who, I'm not gonna lie, is he a god in Red Zone? No, he's still a very solid EZA nonetheless, and he works really well in Super Battle Road, but he isn't a Red Zone god or anything, so don't get your hopes up there. Not every EZA has to dominate every event in the game. I always say this. So let's go through what he does. He's now a Resurrected Warriors 170 lead, and the Int types get key plus 3, HP and attack and defense plus 120. On Super Attack, he greatly raises defense by 50% for 1 turn, causes immense damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. On his passive, he gets attack plus 250 at the start of turn and defense plus 150. All enemies get attack minus 15%, which, again, it's nice to have, but you won't really notice it too much. But again, it's just nice to have it there than not. Superclass allies and enemies get attack minus 7%, which on top of that, again, it's nice to have, but you won't notice it too much. And the superclass allies portion is only 7%, but it can be quite annoying that your superclass allies, if you are running him around superclass allies, which is predominantly going to be on resurrected warriors or the likes of reps of Universe 7, it's kind of annoying they won't be super attacking at their pinnacle. But then he then gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% when facing superclass enemies. So if you're going to be taking him into the likes of, you know, what categories does he go on? Wicked Bloodline, for example, being the main one. Superclass enemies are in trouble, not to mention he's going to be doing some very good damage with 350% attack against superclass enemies, and defensively being solid as well with 250 and greatly raising defense for 1 turn on super. His attack's effective against all types when there is another Reps Universe 7 category ally attacking in the same turn, which is also very nice, but again, considering Reps is filled with a lot of superclass units, a lot of the time they're going to be having the attack minus 7%, which is again annoying because they're not super attacking at their pinnacle, but it's only 7% at the end of the day. It's not going to do too much. So as I said, is his EZA like ridiculously good? No. Is he a god in red zone? No. But he's a very good super battle road unit nonetheless, and you'll definitely find uses for him there. And then we have a little bit extra for this video, which is the current celebration currently going on JP right now, which is for the Path to Power Kid Goku. Now, because Global is notoriously known for rearranging schedules, shuffling everything around, we could easily see this squeezed in somewhere because this is a relatively short celebration over on JP. So this could be squeezed in before the end of the year, or could still be coming during 2023 for us. Depends on how Global does things. So this is how his banner's looking. I'm not gonna lie, it's okay. Raditz is obviously cheeks. Like, he is arse. So immediately that's not the great value. Goku is up there as one of the better TURs in the game. Also, Eita, or Hachan, is one of the best side banner units in the game. Bojack's still pretty good, has his uses. Videl's pretty good. And then we have Beerus, and Turles is one of the better EZs in the game. So there is some value on this banner. And then in terms of what he does, is a DB Saga Youth or Exploding Rage 170 lead, which is very nice that he offers 3 categories of this. But considering how DB Saga and Youth aren't the best categories, kind of makes sense why there's 3 of them rather than 2. And the extra HP attack and defense plus 30% is offered to Dragon Ball Seekers and Bond of Friendship. Which again, this guy Hachan in the back, his side banner unit works so well on. On super attack, he'll greatly raise attack for 1 turn by 50% and cause immense damage to the enemy. He has a unit super attack where he'll massive raise attack for 1 turn and cause immense damage to the enemy and lowers attack, which can be activated when there is an ally whose name includes Yamcha, Master Roshi, Oolong, Bulma, or Bulma Bunny attacking in the same turn. Then he has another unit super attack, just like Pan. He'll massive raise attack for 1 turn again, causes immense damage to enemy and lowers attack, and this can be activated when there's a Hachan in attacking in the same turn as well, which again, considering how good the side banner unit is, it's very easy to get off, especially if you do have both of them, because you'll be running them together. He gets attack and defense plus 159% at the start of turn. He gets an additional attack and defense plus 59% on super, which is multiplicative. DB Saga or Youth category allies get key plus 2 and attack and defense plus 50%, which is very nice support, considering these categories aren't that big and don't have that many good units. This is still some very nice support, especially when it gets a bit more buffing in the future, if it ends up getting that. And one of the major buffs is, of course, the EZA Kid Goku that does come with this celebration as well. He'll also randomly change 1 key spheres of certain type to rainbow key spheres, and he'll get an additional attack and defense plus 20% per key sphere obtained. So he's basically his own orb changer while getting extra attack and defense plus 20%. With all the orbs you could potentially get him to obtain as well, which is very nice. On top of all of this here, he'll then also get a chance of performing a critical hit plus 7% and reduces damage received by 7% per rainbow key sphere obtained. So it's not a lot, but it's nice to have. He then gets an additional defense plus 59% with 3 or more key spheres obtained, which is relatively easy. On top of the fact, again, he's his own orb changer. He launches an additional attack that's a high chance of becoming a super attack with 5 or more key spheres obtained as well, which means you could possibly massively raise your attack if you are getting unit super attacks off twice in 1 turn, which is kind of crazy. And also greatly raise your attack as well if you're not getting the unit super attacks off. Actually, no. Doesn't unit super attack only come off once? But even so, having 100% and then another 50%, still kind of crazy. On top of, again, the 159% at the start of turn, the attack and defense plus 59% on super, the support, and then how many orbs you're going to be giving him. Guy's damage output is definitely up there. Definitely up there. And then having a crit chance on top of that, which again is not a lot, but 55% is definitely helpful. The amount of damage this guy can do is pretty crazy. He then gets an additional defense plus 59% with 3 or more key spheres obtained. He launches an additional attack that's high. Oh, wait, we've already gone through this, haven't we? Pretty sure we've already gone through that bit. All allies get a chance upon a critical hit plus 8% and damage received by 8% with 7 or more key spheres obtained as well. So if you do get the full 7 or more key spheres, not only will you be getting all of this, but then you'll also give all allies crit chance, and even though it's only 8%, all allies will also get damage reduction, which is very nice. And again, considering how well the Hachan tanks, giving him extra damage reduction just seems ridiculous. On his active skill, he'll raise attack by 800% temporarily, causes damage to enemy, and within the turn activated, attacks have a 59% chance of becoming a crit. These can be activated after the character receives an attack 8 or more times in battle, or on HP is 59% or less. His link set is the Innocence, All in the Family, Infighter, Kamehameha, The Incredible Adventure, Guidance of the Dragon Balls, Fierce Battle, and he goes on Low Class Warrior, Pure Saiyans, Dragon Ball Seekers, Movie Heroes, Goku's Family, Youth, DB Saga, Kamehameha, Exploding Rage, Bond of Friendship, and Parent of Child. So a very, very good unit. And again, could be squeezed in before the end of the year, depending on scheduling, or we could see him next year going into 2023 as kind of initially first planned. And then the EZA that comes with a celebration, as I already mentioned, is the Int Kid Goku. He is a 170 lead for DB Saga or Youth. On super attack, he raises attack and defense by 30% for 1 turn, causes immense damage with a high chance of stunning. He gets attack and defense plus 159% at the start of turn, and then gets an additional attack boost by up to 59%. The more HP remaining, the greater attack boost, which in harder content is a little bit more difficult to do. But still, the extra attack is going to be nice, especially on top of the 159, and then raise attack and defense by 30% on super. And an additional defense boost up to 159%, the less HP remaining, the greater defense boost. This, of course, in red zone is a lot more useful. However, you don't want to lose too much HP because you don't have the risk of dying, but if you can maintain it where he gets a decent extra defense boost, which you typically do anyway in red zone, you're kind of winning. He then gets key plus 2 in attack and defense plus 20% at the start of each turn, up to 59%, which will take you like 3 turns. He then launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack when HP is 59% or more, forms a critical hit when HP is 59% or less, and an additional attack plus 59% when attacking, and stuns the attacked enemy once only when HP is 59% or less when attacking, which that guaranteed stun where you can make use of it is of course very, very useful. But a very versatile unit in terms of getting, attack and defense buffs, guaranteed crits, things like that, depending on where your HP is sitting. He's a very, very nice EZA. A very, very good EZA. So that is everything that we know that is coming to the global side of things. As I said, the 2 celebrations that are guaranteed are Heroes and Tanabata during December. We're guaranteed to get the Gammas at the end of October going into November. So scheduling, they could squeeze maybe the Path to Power Goku in before the end of the year. That could easily be seen because, as I said, it is quite a short celebration, and we're more likely going to be seeing the ROF Blues going into next year, considering that has a part 2, and we could easily see that in January, February time. But do let me think down in the comments. I know this was a longer video, so if you did watch it all, please drop a like. All the support is very much appreciated, and thanks for chilling with me. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and let me know who you're going to be summoning on, where you're going to be putting your stones, and I'll see you in the next video, guys, and peace!